Hi everyone. I'm Anjali Saraugi, the founder and chief career coach at Career Sarthi. And today I have with me Vardaan Saraugi, who is my son and who has just joined National University of Singapore. He joins us from his dorm room there. Hi, Vardaan.
Hello.
So, welcome all of you to this series, which we are going to call Singapore Unpacked. Over the last 3 to 4 years, Vardaan and I have been on this journey towards crafting a successful application for some of these top universities in Singapore, NUS and NTU. And in this journey, I have played a dual role. I have, played the role of his career counselor as well as his parent. All right. Now, in this series, we're going to cover a whole lot of aspects. The reason why we actually have started this is because while we were on this journey, we realized there was a lot of information, but we found a lot of scarcity in terms of, targeted information from an international, especially Indian students' point of view. And we realized that there are so many unanswered questions, like, what kind of scores should you be getting, which are boards preferred, if any, what are the kind of standardized tests, what are the kind of extracurriculars, what does Singapore actually offer in terms of courses, what are the costs involved. So many aspects that we felt had not been covered in detail, and hence in the episodes that come up in this series, about 6 to 7 episodes, we are going to get into each one of these in great detail. So with that, let us start with our very first episode, which is about why Singapore at all. With so much discussion happening, in terms of geopolitics, whether US is a good destination or not, whether UK is a good destination. But Dan, please tell us, why is it that you actually selected Singapore as your destination for study? And also tell us about, what your choice of majors and subjects has been there.
All right. So I'll answer your second question first. I am currently studying computer science at the National University of Singapore. I'm going to be specializing in artificial intelligence later over here. Now, one of the main reasons I selected Singapore is how good it is academically. All universities here are ranked among the top 10 in the world. NUS ranks 4th for my course and NTU ranks 6th for my course. And there is a strong research and very strong emphasis on academics here. The academics here are very comparable to the top US universities, and same goes for the campus life. It's all comparable. And it has one major advantage, which is proximity to home. So Singapore is very close to India, so that means I can actually come home, visit my family a lot more than I would if I were living in the US. Also, if we talk about costs, Singapore universities offer the same level of infrastructure, the same level of curriculum as the top US universities at a fraction of the cost. And that is a pretty big advantage. And that's why I believe a lot of more people should consider Singapore.
Absolutely. In fact, from a counselor's point of view, if I can also add over here that you have also taken entrepreneurship as your minor. So, in Asia, in the past, this whole interdisciplinary concept has not been very, very popular. But then this is a thing of the future, and students who wanted to mix and match their subject combinations, for example, you who wanted to study AI but also with business and a whole lot of other things, were looking at just a very few liberal studies colleges in India or the US. But now Singapore has a lot of this to offer as well, and I think that was another huge point in our consideration as to why we wanted Singapore as one of our top destinations. Great. Now, let us get into the preparation part of it. Okay, so when did you actually, finalize that Singapore is your top choice, and when did you start preparing for this, and how?
I was dead set on Singapore ninth grade onwards, and I had done a lot of research back then into what Singapore looks for. And I had noticed this one thing, it is focus. Focus in the area you want to pursue. So for me, it is CS. So I needed to do focus ECs. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the baseline is good academics. It's expected that you will get the top grades, the highest possible grades, highest possible standardized test scores here, and you'll be very academically successful, is what I'm trying to say. And that's a base. Now, on top of that, I did a lot of focused CS related extracurriculars. I did a lot of apps, large scale apps, internships, and competitions related to computer science in specific. And We'll go into more specifics later on in the series. But I think that's what I really did. If I have to give a broad overview of what I've done since ninth grade.
Right, absolutely. So if I could just summarize this, I think right from grade 9, you ensured that academics were taken care of. There was certain standard that was maintained. You also started working towards standardized tests, which we will be talking about in detail. And we did identify that when it comes to extracurriculars, Singapore is a country which looks at more depth than breadth, right? So we started tailoring most of your extracurriculars around your subject of interest, which was computer science. Having said that, I am aware that you have a whole lot of other friends who did apply from other boards as well, from the IB curriculum, from the Indian boards like ISC, CBSE, state boards. So now that you are there in NUS, and I would like to mention here that you are specifically also in the honors college, NUS college. We will be talking in detail about that separately. But tell me, what is the profile of students there like? How many students are you seeing from the international boards, from the Indian boards, and what kind of grades, percentage marks have they brought with them?
Right. So I'll divide this answer into two parts. One about NUS and one about the honors college you mentioned, NUSC. Now, if we talk about NUS, I have definitely met a lot of people from the Indian boards here, from ISC, CBSE. But one thing which is in common among all boards, be it international or Indian, is extreme success in academics. So my friends who are in the Indian boards have scored marks like 97%, 98%, and even higher for competitive courses like CS. And if you talk about IB, most of the people around me have scored over 43 on 45 in IB. And in terms of A levels and the Cambridge curriculum, most people have scored at least 3 A stars. So that should give you a picture of how strongly academics are looked at here. It's extremely academic. A lot of consideration is given to your grades, and more than which board you are in, it's a success you achieve within that board, which matters more. Now, to answer your second question, which is NUSC, I actually feel that a lot of people here are from the IBDP curriculum. I think it's because IBDP has a shared ethos with NUSC of prioritizing breadth and interdisciplinary and a lot of writing work. So most of my friends actually are from the IBDP curriculum. And I, to some extent, believe that for NUS college, IBDP can definitely give you an advantage.
Absolutely. So, again, I would summarize it by saying that the board does not matter so much as long as you maintain the academic rigor. Probably with the Indian boards, you would have to supplement it with standardized testing and things like that, which we will get into in the future. And if you're looking at the honors college specifically, which is a rather new concept, which looks at breadth, unlike the traditional NUS, there probably an IB curriculum is preferred, but you have also made it into it with the A level. So we will talk about how we were able to achieve that. Great. So finally, Vardaan, tell me, now that you've been there for some time, how is the campus life like? What are the 3 or 4 key things about your curriculum and about the campus that you are finding, very interesting and maybe different from what we would see here in India?
Firstly, I'd like to say the campus life here is awesome. Like, the first day, the campus is huge. It's really beautiful. There are a lot of places to explore, and there are dedicated buildings for each subject. So, for example, I'm in CS, so I have a whole school of computing, and the engineering kids have a different school. And also, the residential life here is pretty good, especially if you're in NUSC. We here have apartments, 6-bedroom apartments, which offer a unique and very good experience compared to the traditional dorm experience, which you might hear of in Indian or even US universities. So yeah, there's a lot to do around campus, a lot of walking around. It's really green and has all the facilities you could ask for. So I believe the campus life is pretty good here. You'll really enjoy your time here on the campus.
Wonderful. So, Now, to summarize our discussion in this particular episode, this was majorly for us to understand why Singapore is probably a very, very top destination that parents and children from Asia and India should be looking at. Not only does Singapore have top ranked universities like NUS, which is ranked 8th QS ranking world overall. It has NTU, which is ranked 12th overall in the QS rankings. It also has institutions like the SMU, SUTD, SIT, which are very, very good institutions in their own right. They might not be as highly ranked, but they are excellent institutions. Secondly, the whole safety factor. I think Singapore is a very, very safe place to be in. You don't hear of, racial discrimination or hate crimes, and there are a whole lot of opportunities available out there. And the infrastructure, the state-of-the-art infrastructure, the kind of subject combinations you have. So you spoke more about computer science, which is your course, but even things like business, philosophy, economics, there are wonderful mix and match options there, and the honors college options, of course, which are now open to international students. So going ahead, we are going to get into each one of these. For parents, the cost aspect. So Vardaan, you have also received the Ministry of Education grant, and you received an offer from NTU where you got the 150% scholarship as well. So why we applied for those, and how it is possible to actually get those grants, and what the fees works out like with those grants, right? Yeah, so thanks Vardaan for these insights. Meet you in the next episode. And for all those students and parents who are watching this, if you have any specific questions about Singapore, about how you need to prepare, please do put it in the comments. Please do get in touch with us. We would love to cover it over the upcoming episodes and make this a complete one-stop destination for you to prepare for Singapore University. Thank you.